it was exceedingly limited when the video game business initially started to take off in the early 1970s. In every sense of the term, the leap from games back then to games now is tremendous. It was like watching Chris Evert and Billie Jean King battle it out on the court back then, with two vertically scrolling lines batting a little white square back and forth. It's reasonable to say that the expansion and advancement of this business has been staggering, from games that didn't even reach the 10 kilobyte threshold to titles that practically take up a fourth of a 1 terabyte HDD. Though gamers are often associated with the younger generation, those who have been around since the beginning can speak to the fact that we have made amazing progress. 10. Just Cause 4. One of the most cathartic and stress-relieving franchises out there is the Just Cause series. The primary premise of this IP is destruction, and developer Avalanche Studios will provide you with all of the tools you'll need to accomplish it. The third game was a lot of fun, and it even had a wonderfully ludicrous multiplayer mode that brought the game back to life when its initial popularity waned. The visuals, story, graphics, and number of tools available to Rico Rodriguez have all improved in the fourth game, as has the map size. Although the third game will always be a cult favorite for fans to return to, JC4 has outperformed JC3. 9. Ashran's Call. Ashran's Call, which was released in 1999, is regarded as one of the first MMOs to use so-called seamless 3D worlds, in which much of the playspace could be traversed without the need for lengthy loading screens. The game lives on thanks to a loyal emulation community, even though the original servers were shut down in 2017. Ashran's Call must have been a wonderful experience back in 1999, with 500 square miles to explore. This MMO was in a league of its own, even in a period when The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Field was regarded amazing. 8. Test Drive Unlimited 2. Test Drive Unlimited 2 was an appealing title for racing aficionados in 2011. It had 2 islands with a total of little more than 2,000 kilometers of road to rip up. Though the lack of a true on-foot portion may make players feel a little disconnected from the world, there are plenty of landscapes to explore and races to participate in. These kinds of games are plentiful these days, but back in 2011, a map this huge must have been a major selling point. 7. Final Fantasy XV. Final Fantasy XV, a franchise that began when 8-bit consoles reigned supreme, is so massive that the hard drive space necessary to download it would have taken up entire buildings in 1987. To be fair, much of the game's area isn't directly explorable and can only be flown over, but the vastness of the map is still remarkable. Plus, FFXV at launch and FFXV after everything has been said and done are 2 very different games. And don't forget about the physical mountain that transforms into a multi-hour boss battle. Overall, 15 is a significant improvement over the linear Final Fantasy XIII, which was widely panned. 6. The Crew. The 2014 Need for Speed clone by Ubisoft The Crew was known for creating a playable recreation of all of North America. That is a little deceiving, because the terrain depicted in The Crew is actually constricted into a 1,900 square miles area, roughly the same size as Delaware. In real life, driving from San Francisco to Los Angeles takes hours, yet it only takes around 10 minutes in the game. 5. Fuel. Fuel, released in 2009, is widely regarded as one of the most expansive racing games available in terms of raw driving space. One may be forgiven for believing that publisher Codemasters had a true winner on their hands with a map that spreads across a virtually inconceivable 5,560 square miles. Unfortunately, Fuel didn't go down too well, as many people thought the playspace was far too big for its own good, and it was riddled with bugs, exploits, and other technological concerns. This post-apocalyptic Mad Max clone, devoid of content and mainly desolate, only became worse once the real Mad Max game came out and showed Fuel how it was done. 4. Guild Wars Nightfall. Nightfall, released in 2006, boasted one of the largest maps in video game history, yet it's a title that doesn't come up very often. Nightfall was a standalone game that allowed players to explore thousands of square miles of the Guild Wars globe while continuing to play the same Guild Wars style gameplay they enjoyed in the previous 2 games. Guild Wars Nightfall is a well-remembered game, if not little panned for its lack of fresh new gameplay, and Guild Wars 2 is still going strong as an MMORPG. 3. Atlas. Atlas is a seafaring MMORPG that has a lot of potential but can't seem to live up to it. With over 33,000 reviews on Steam, the average rating of mixed is a bit of a red flag. Simply defined, Atlas is a survival MMO that shares many parallels with other games in the genre such as Rust and 7 Days to Die. The only difference is that, whereas those games gradually patched up all of their flaws and introduced new features, Atlas continued to add new items with new bugs while leaving the old ones unfixed. Sea of Thieves is far more valuable if you're seeking for a nautical multiplayer experience, but Atlas is the obvious victor in terms of sheer size. 2. The Elder Scrolls II, Daggerfall. And you thought Skyrim was a big world. Apart from the theoretically endless play spaces that other open-world games strive to achieve, Bethesda's 1996 follow-up to the successful fantasy CRPG The Elder Scrolls Arena is widely regarded as having the largest in-game map. Daggerfall's scope is as astounding in terms of map size as it is in terms of gameplay, allowing players to explore nearly every inch of the fictitious continent of Tamriel. Though some have criticized it for randomly generating most of the topography, this achievement is remarkable given that 3D gaming was still a relatively new feature at the time. 1. Procedurally generated games. Let's finish up with procedurally produced games. Technically, these shouldn't count because they don't have a size that can be assigned to them. However, these are open-world games with huge maps, so it checks out. No Man's Sky, Minecraft, Elite Dangerous, EVE Online, and other games fall into this category. As you journey further and deeper in these games, new planets, blocks, and galaxies are generated, so there is no real end to the exploration. Minecraft is essentially a blank slate open world on which you may project your aspirations. No Man's Sky is an unending voyage over endless planets, Elite Dangerous is a space-based Euro truck simulator, and EVE Online is nearly unimaginable in its vastness and impact. But there's one thing that all of these games have in common: they're all about exploring, and what more could you want from an open-world game? Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.